You've been lied to your whole life. They told you to pray for money, and that is exactly why you still don't have it. What if I told you there is a specific biblical commandment, not a suggestion, not self-help advice, but a direct command from God that 99% of Christians never apply? And what if I told you that this very neglect is the reason your prayers for prosperity are never answered? What you are about to discover today isn't the prosperity gospel you were taught in church. It isn't the law of attraction disguised as religion. It is something much older, more powerful, and more real. Written over 2,000 years ago by a prophet who dared to question God. Why do the righteous suffer while the wicked prosper? The answer God gave to the prophet Habakkuk changed everything for him. And it can change everything for you too. Stay with me, because what follows is something very few people in the world actually know. Look, I have to say this with all the respect in the world, but also with all the honesty you deserve. Praying for money, the way most people do it, simply doesn't work. And it's not because God doesn't want to give you prosperity. It's not because you're unworthy. It's not because you lack faith. It's because you're using the wrong tool for the right job. Imagine trying to drive a screw with a hammer. Technically, they are both tools, but one isn't meant for the other, right? That is exactly how millions of people approach the manifestation of money through their faith. How many times have you heard "pray without ceasing" and applied it literally, repeating the same request over and over, hoping something would change? How many nights have you gone to sleep thinking tomorrow God will provide, only to wake up with the same debts, the same worries, and the same feeling that your prayers are hitting the ceiling? If that sounds familiar, brother, sister, this is for you. Because the financial freedom you yearn for isn't a forbidden dream. It is a promise from God waiting to be claimed with the right strategy. Today, we are going to explore a biblical passage that most churches overlook. We are going to talk about the Habakkuk Method, that specific commandment God gave his prophet when the economic situation of an entire nation was in ruins. Best of all, you don't need to be a theologian or have gone to seminary to understand and apply it. You just need a willing heart, genuine faith, and the desire to stop repeating the same mistakes. God has already spoken. You just need to listen closely. Topic 1, the big mistake, praying for money like it's a wishing machine. There's a scene repeated in millions of American homes every night. Someone kneels down, closes their eyes, joins their hands and says, "Lord, I need money. Please send me money." And that's how the prayer ends. They get up, go to sleep, and the next day, nothing. A week passes, a month passes, and that person starts to believe God isn't listening, or that they aren't good enough, or that prosperity is only for other people. But the problem was never God. The problem is that this person treated God like a celestial vending machine where you drop in faith like coins and wait for cash to slide out the slot. God doesn't work like that, friend. The law of attraction for Christians isn't simply ask and you'll receive on autopilot. Jesus himself in Mark chapter 11 verse 24 said, "I tell you, you can pray for anything, and if you believe that you've received it, it will be yours." Did you notice the order? First, believe you have already received it, and then you will have it. It's not about begging with uncertainty. It's about affirming with the certainty of someone who already knows the result. That difference, though it sounds small, changes everything in the practice of manifestation. A Christian who prays from a place of lack attracts more lack. A Christian who prays from the divine abundance already declared, that is a completely different level. And here is something that might sound a bit harsh, but I say it with love. Many people have turned their prayer time into a complaint session. "Lord, look how much I'm suffering. Look how much I lack. Look how hard everything is." And God, who is wise, hears that and essentially says, "All right, I will give you more of what you are focusing on." Because the mind and spirit operate under laws that God himself designed. What you contemplate with consistency, you attract with consistency. That's why effective Christian coaching doesn't start with financial techniques. It starts with transforming how a believer perceives their reality and communicates with heaven. There are biblical secrets that, once you understand them, make you wonder, how did I not see this before? Topic 2, the Prophet Habakkuk and the commandment that changes everything. To understand why the Prophet Habakkuk is so relevant today, you have to imagine the context. We're talking about a man living in a time of total chaos, injustice everywhere, violence, corruption, and a people wondering where God was in the midst of such darkness. Habakkuk wasn't one of those prophets who only said what people wanted to hear. He had the courage to go directly to God and ask, "How long, O Lord? How long will you ignore my cries for help?" And the most surprising part of this story isn't Habakkuk's complaint, it's God's response. God didn't scold him. God answered him with one of the most powerful commandments in the entire Bible regarding prosperity and vision. In Habakkuk chapter 2, verses 2 and 3, God says something that should be tattooed on the heart of every believer seeking wealth and prosperity. "Write my answer plainly on tablets, so that a runner can carry the correct message to others." This vision is for a future time. It describes the end, and it will be fulfilled. If it seems slow in coming, wait patiently, for it will surely take place. It will not be delayed. Did you catch that? God didn't say, pray more. God didn't say, fast for 40 days. God said, write the vision. This is the commandment that most believers never apply. It isn't a poetic suggestion. It's a divine instruction with an attached promise. It will surely take place. That's not from a motivational coach. That's from the creator of the universe. The Habakkuk Method starts exactly with this verse. What makes it so powerful is that it combines active faith with a concrete, measurable action. It's not enough to visualize. It's not enough to believe in the abstract. You have to write. You have to materialize the vision in words, with dates, with details, with the certainty of someone who knows it is on the way. This isn't the oversimplified prosperity gospel of name it and claim it. This is Christian spirituality applied with surgical precision. It's the difference between telling an architect, "I want a pretty house," versus giving them exact blueprints with measurements, materials, and a move-in date. God works with clear visions. So have you written yours yet? Topic 3, how to apply the Habakkuk Method, the power of writing the vision. Now comes the practical part, and this is where many get excited, but few actually act. The Habakkuk Method in its most basic form has 3 inseparable elements: writing the vision, giving it specificity, and reviewing it with faith regularly. It sounds simple, and in a way it is. But most people never do it because they underestimate the power of an act as simple as writing. However, studies show that people who write down their goals are up to 42% more likely to achieve them. And that's just science. Imagine when you add the spiritual component of faith, prayer, and active manifestation. The result is something that has no name in the secular world, but in the biblical world, it's called a miracle. Here is a practical example you can apply today. Take a notebook, not your phone, a physical notebook, and start writing your vision of financial freedom with specific details. Don't write, "I want to be rich." That is vague, and neither the universe nor God works with vagueness. Write, "Thank you, Lord, because by specific date, I have a monthly income of specific amount. My debt with name of creditor is completely paid off, and I have an emergency fund of amount." Use the present tense of gratitude as if it were already a reality. That is exactly what faith means in biblical terms. Faith shows the reality of what we hope for. It is the evidence of things we cannot see. As it says in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1, add biblical verses that back up each point of your vision. This transforms your notebook into an altar of faith and finances. And this isn't a one-time thing. The commandment says to write it on tablets so that a runner can carry the message. God is saying, make it visible, make it accessible, put it where you can see it constantly. This is where your money mindset begins to transform at the root. When you start your day reading your vision written in faith, and when you thank God for what is coming before you sleep, Something happens at a neurological and spiritual level that is hard to explain in words, but impossible to ignore in results. Your mind starts looking for opportunities you didn't see before. Your attitude changes. Your conversations change. And very soon, reality starts to bend toward the direction of your vision. That is miraculous manifestation in action, and it has had a biblical foundation for over 2,000 years. Topic 4. Faith without works. The action that activates biblical prosperity. There is a verse many people know, but few understand in its true financial dimension. James chapter 2 verse 17 says, "So you see, faith by itself isn't enough. Unless it produces good deeds, it is dead and useless." This verse is literally the key that unlocks the door between prayer and results. Because it is one thing to have faith that God will provide, and quite another to move as if He is already providing. True faith doesn't sit around waiting. True faith acts before seeing the result. Noah didn't wait for rain to start building the ark. Abraham didn't wait to see the ram before taking Isaac to the altar. They acted from faith, and that is exactly what biblical economics demands of anyone who wants to live in divine abundance. Applying this in practical terms of money and wealth means you have to start making decisions aligned with your vision before the vision is a tangible reality. Do you want a prosperous business? Start studying business management today, even if you don't have the money to launch it yet. Books like The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason or Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki are excellent starting points to understand the financial mindset from a practical perspective. Complement that with the promises of God in your Bible. Underline them, memorize them. The blend of practical wisdom and spiritual faith is what produces sustained prosperity that doesn't crumble at the first crisis. And what about those who say, "But I have nothing to start with"? Those people need to hear the story of the talents in Matthew chapter 25, verses 14 to 30. The servant who received 1 talent buried it out of fear, and he was the one who lost everything. Those who took the little they had and put it to work were the ones who doubled and tripled it. Effortless success doesn't exist in the Bible. What does exist is success with divine direction, where effort is aligned with God's purpose. When that happens, the results seem miraculous because, in a sense, they are. But the miracle always has a part God does and a part you have to do. The question is, are you doing yours? Topic 5. The money mindset God approves, destroying limiting beliefs. One of the most subtle traps in certain religious circles is the idea that money is evil, that the rich go to hell, and that poverty is synonymous with holiness. While there are verses used to support this, an honest and complete reading of the Bible reveals something entirely different. Abraham was incredibly wealthy. Job, after his trials, ended up with twice what he had before. Solomon was the wealthiest man of his era, and it was God himself who granted him that wealth. The difference wasn't in whether they had money or not. The difference was whether the money controlled them or they controlled the money. The most transformative Christian coaching begins by dismantling this myth at the root. My grandmother, who lived right here in the United States, used to say that poverty is a state of mind, not a state of the bank account. She understood that the mindset God approves has several key characteristics. First, it sees money as a tool, not an end in itself. Second, it understands that personal prosperity enables generosity, and generosity moves God to provide more. Proverbs chapter 11 verse 24 says it clearly, "Give freely and become more wealthy. Be stingy and lose everything." Third, a divine mindset toward money has a long-term vision. It doesn't seek immediate gratification at any cost. Fourth, it manages what it has with faithfulness, because as Jesus taught, he who is faithful in the little will be given authority over much. These aren't the ideas of a financial guru. They are biblical secrets that operate whether you know them or not. As we talk about transforming your money mindset from its deepest roots, there is something I cannot let pass without mentioning. It is one thing to hear these principles here in this video, but it is quite another to have them with you at all times, to be able to reread them, meditate on them, and apply them step by step in your daily life. That is why I created a specific resource for those on this journey of uniting faith and finances from a genuinely biblical perspective. It's called Attract Divine Abundance, the Law of Attraction. Through the Bible, this ebook isn't just another self-help book disguised as spirituality. It is a profound guide, grounded in the promises of God, that leads you by the hand to understand how the law of attraction for Christians operates within the framework of Scripture, without contradictions or losing an ounce of your faith. From the principles of manifestation found in the Psalms to the biblical secrets of prosperity that Solomon documented in Proverbs, every chapter is designed so you don't just understand the theory, but walk away with concrete actions you can implement from day one. It is exactly the kind of knowledge that once it enters your life, you can no longer ignore. You can find it right now via the QR code on the screen or in the first pinned comment below this video. Don't leave it for later, because later usually becomes never. If you've made it this far, you're ready for the next level. Topic 6. Biblical examples of manifesting abundance. Characters who applied these principles. One of the most powerful ways to believe something is possible for yourself is to see that it was already possible for someone else. The Bible is full of stories of ordinary people who applied principles of faith and ended up living in a divine abundance that defied human logic. Joseph, the son of Jacob, started as a slave and a prisoner. He had nothing, but he had a vision, and he interpreted and communicated that vision with such clarity that he ended up being the second most powerful man in Egypt. His story isn't just inspiring. It's a manual for manifesting abundance that includes clear vision, patience in adversity, and the ability to recognize God's hand even in the darkest moments. Then there's Nehemiah, a man who was neither a prophet nor a priest. He was the king's cupbearer, but he had a clear vision to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. Before doing anything else, he prayed. Then he drew up a plan. Then he sought the resources. Then he acted. That is exactly the order Christian spirituality applied to finances demands. Vision, prayer, plan, resources, action. There are no shortcuts. There is no magic. There is active faith expressed in concrete, measurable steps. When you operate under that framework, doors that were once closed start to open in ways that can only be explained as divine intervention. That is what the world calls luck, what believers call God's favor, and what the law of attraction for Christians recognizes as the principle of sowing and reaping operating at its peak. And you can't talk about biblical examples of prosperity without mentioning the Proverbs 31 woman. That woman wasn't sitting around waiting for her husband to bring her everything. She studied the market, invested in real estate, managed her home with excellence, and still found time for generosity and spirituality. In modern terms, she was a high-performance entrepreneur with a deep faith life. And Proverbs chapter 31 verse 31 says, "Reward her for all she has done. Let her deeds publicly declare her praise." God himself instructed that this woman be recognized publicly. That isn't misery disguised as holiness. That is legitimate wealth, earned with intelligence, work, and faith. And it is available to anyone who decides to apply those same principles today. Topic 7. Practical steps to implement the Habakkuk Method starting today. It's time to take all of this from the theoretical to the concrete, because knowledge that isn't applied is just intellectual entertainment. The Habakkuk Method has specific steps that anyone can start implementing today. Step 1. Define your vision with absolute clarity. Not "I want prosperity," but rather, how much money do you want to earn per month? By what date? What will you use it for? How will it change your life and your family's life? Clarity is power. Vagueness is paralysis. When God spoke to the prophet Habakkuk, he was specific. You must be too. Step 2, write it down. Don't just think it. Don't just visualize it. Write the vision on paper in ink with a date and details. Put it somewhere you will see it every day. The bathroom mirror, your computer screen, the fridge. Read it out loud every morning before you start your day. Read it at night before you sleep. This isn't superstition. This is the intentional programming of your mind and spirit toward God's purpose for your financial life. Step 3, pray over your written vision. Don't pray asking for what you don't have. Pray giving thanks for what is coming. Use the promises of God already in the Bible as the foundation of your prayer. Joshua chapter 1 verse 8 says, "Study this book of instruction continually. Meditate on it day and night, so you will be sure to obey everything written in it. Only then will you prosper and succeed in all you do." That is a divine promise of prosperity conditioned on a specific action. Are you doing it? Step 4, and this is perhaps the most ignored. Act in the direction of your vision every single day, even if it's a small step. If your vision is to have a business, research today what permits you need or what problem you can solve in your community. If your vision is to get out of debt, call your creditors today and negotiate. Manifestation is not passive. It is the active collaboration between the believer's faith and God's grace. When those two elements unite, the result is what the Bible calls divine abundance, more than enough, not just for you, but for everyone around you. Because that is always God's intention, to prosper you so that you can be a blessing to others. That, my friend, is faith and finances at their highest expression. Conclusion. So let me ask you directly, how much longer are you going to keep praying the same way and expecting different results? How many more nights are you going to go to sleep with the same debt, the same financial anguish, the same feeling that God isn't listening? Because the truth is, God is listening. He always has been. The problem isn't the frequency of your prayers. It's that you've been using the wrong method. Today, thanks to the Prophet Habakkuk, you have a tool in your hands that can transform your financial reality from the root. Don't just walk away with the emotion of the moment. Miraculous manifestation doesn't come to those who get excited. It comes to those who act. Today, when this video ends, open a notebook, write your vision, pray over it, and start moving toward what God has already promised is yours. Financial freedom is for anyone who applies the principles of biblical economics with faith and consistency. The riches of Abraham are available to the seed of Abraham. And if you are a believer, that is your heritage. Don't waste it on visionless prayers. Claim it with the Habakkuk Method. Write the vision, make it clear, act on it, and trust that God is faithful to fulfill what He promised. Now, one final question for you to answer in the comments. What is that vision you've been dreaming about for a long time, but have never written down? What is that financial number that scares you to even admit you desire? Write it down below. There is something powerful in declaring your vision publicly. This community is here to support you and remind you that what God did for Abraham, Joseph, and the Proverbs 31 woman, He can do for you too. His promises do not have an expiration date. They are for today. They are for now. They are for you. If this message touched your heart, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Every week, we share biblical secrets on faith and finances that you won't find anywhere else. May God bless you, and remember, the sky is the limit only when you don't know the one who made the heavens.